I'm so glad to be with you again. I look forward to the time of being able to say once more a little of what I've been thinking in recent days. I've been pondering these days, very recently, a phrase that I sometimes refer to as kitchen philosophy or kitchen theology. That is the kind of thing that people live by, whether they've ever heard it in the pulpit or anywhere else. They somehow make it the guiding theology of their lives. And in this instance, I'll venture that some people who are listening to me just now will have the feeling that this is in the Bible. I have to tell you that it isn't. I'm thinking of that great phrase, the Lord helps those who help themselves. So many people would think of that as, if not their favorite verse in the Bible, at least their second favorite. It's the one they impose most often on somebody who they think could do better with their lives if they'd only choose to work at it a little bit. For those who seem to them to be indolent or whatever, and they say, well, just remember, the Lord helps those who help themselves. Well, there's a truth in it, without a doubt. And it's a pretty good rule to live by when it comes to taking care of those responsibilities of life that the good Lord expects us to take care of for ourselves. The things we're able to do, we ought to do. That's a good, safe rule. I want to tell you, however, where that little bit of theology falls down completely in the matter of your salvation, your standing with God. Because you see, the Lord doesn't help those who can help themselves. In truth, when it comes to our salvation, nobody can help himself or herself. As a matter of fact, it's almost the very opposite. Maybe I should say it this way. When it comes to your salvation, the place of your eternal soul before Almighty God, the Lord doesn't get a chance to help those who help themselves. Because when people are helping themselves on matters of salvation, they get in the way of God, and they prevent God from doing what only God can do. You see, the better word for all of us would be words from that old hymn by Francis Light. Thou who changest not, abide with me. Help of the helpless, oh, abide with me. Because you and I, when it comes to the matter of our eternal soul, we're helpless. There is one thing we can do. We can accept God's offer. But there's nothing else we can do to save ourselves. Having accepted God's offer, we ought to live up to it. We ought to be as good a believers as we can. But we should never get over the fact that what wins us a place with God is not our ability, not our doing. It is our accepting the kindness and the grace of God. And thus, indeed, that phrase, that little motto that is so popular with so many people, that some people are utterly sure is in the Bible, they'll find it for you, they say, and that leads them off into a hopeless search. The Lord helps those who help themselves, not when it comes to our salvation. When it comes to our salvation, those who try to help themselves get in the way of God's helping them, because God has to do this job without our assistance. This job, you see, is all by grace. Our salvation has nothing to do with our goodness, our worthiness, our family heritage, our church membership, the clubs to which we belong, or the money we give to the church, or the good deeds we do. None of that reaches for us into salvation. Salvation is the gift of God. And when you try to pay someone for a gift, you're insulting them. You're making their gift a monstrosity, a violation of terms. So it's quite simple. When it comes to our salvation, the Lord not only does not help those who help themselves, the Lord can't help those who help themselves. We get in the way of God when we try to help ourselves. In this instance, the Lord helps those who not only are helpless, because all of us are, but because we acknowledge we are helpless and give God a chance to do what only God can do. That's what's on my mind today, and I thank you for the chance to talk it over with you. God bless.